And we're live on YouTube. To everybody out there, hello, Hola, Konnichiwa, Salaam, Ciao Namaste. Peace to all. This is the pink elephant in the room conversation. And what we will be discussing for today is about an experience I had that I was trying to see further into, and this is gonna be more, I suppose, of a story time and just the mere science of what I'm talking about, what I was seeing, and then we are gonna go into a little bit more of detail of what it shows from what I was experiencing from this experiment. And if you have anything to add to the conversation, please don't hesitate. Please add whatever you feel, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you feel this resonates with you in every way, just leave some hearts, leave some likes, and feel free to share with whoever you know. And without further ado, let's begin. So, I was eating an edible. Now, the problem with this was I ate 75 to 90% of the edible. And the goal in mind was to see if I could meditate on this energy out of curiosity. So, what I did was I sat down in the dark and I meditated for a bit. And many people will tell you you see hallucinations and everything and this and that. Now, I wasn't really hallucinating at all. Nothing felt like a hallucination at all, because this was meditation. So when I was meditating, about probably 10 minutes in, I had seen everything around me slowly disappearing. Everything around me disappeared and everything became stars and darkness. Light and darkness, just sparkles everywhere, and all sorts of energies among me were whisking around me, going past me, going everywhere. And what I remember during that time was that I could remember even sharper to a T who I was, to the point where I was finding myself becoming more omnipotent and omnipresent in a way, because I was not only did the place disappear, but I was literally speeding. I had literally, on top of that, I suppose, had an out-of-body experience while all of this was happening. And I had literally sped all across different planes, different universes, and everything. And what I was seeing immediately, just with literally a thought, I would think of something like, I wonder what they speak, and the language would show up in different dialects. Some of them came in what I would say were different shapes outlined with different circles. Some of them came in different energy waves to explain their language. And I was seeing all these planets and everything, and it was very interesting to me because of the simple fact of how far I was able to go with what I was learning so quickly. But on the other hand, I was thinking so fast and learning so fast that it was a bit overwhelming. And of course, comes in with what most people will say, eating too much of an edible, because many will tell you you're supposed to only eat half or a bit of it. But this was curiosity for me. I wanted to see what would happen and what I would get out of this. And because unlike smoking, it's more potent, because it's not being burned by a lighter or a fire of any sort. Because that's being set in motion, you are having now a bigger effect which lasts much longer. Some would say somewhere between 4 to 8 hours of This, I would say it's much longer due to how it treads on. Now, from this experience, one of the things that came to mind was the fact of what marijuana or hemp can do and how important it is. We live in a world where this plant is put down because of the simple fact that we consider it a drug. And I was contemplating this in my car. I couldn't, because what you have to realize is drugs, all in all, are mostly made from chemicals. If not all of them are made from chemicals of different factors, different parts that create the chemicals itself. Cannabis is a plant. And of course, there are chemicals in the plant. But I couldn't say it's a drug because of the fact that it's an actual herb. Many of the herbs on our planet do more than the chemicals that are found in drugs and the chemicals that are found in your food. Hence why I'm vegan. And I'm still learning today because, hey, you even got to be careful of the food you eat from that. All these chemicals are not good for the body, and they never will be good for the body. And this is something that most people don't want to look into, is the fact that the food you're eating, the process, it is a process for this food that you're eating to go through your body, get rid of the chemicals that, which don't even disappear. It's more like pushing them to the side elsewhere. And these chemicals are now being filtered through your body, which could make you feel ill, which could make you feel tired, which could make you feel fatigued, which could make you feel frustrated, which could make you feel depressed, emotionally distressed, so many things. Even I go through it. Even I have been through it. So many of these things are what you feel. And when I went on the 7-day vegan challenge, when I went on the vegan challenge and actually took the time to personally get to know myself better, personally take care of myself, I actually felt a lot better. And I made sure to work on getting organic, or if non-GMO especially, and watching closely, because again, and this is something else we'll go into probably in another video, is a simple fact that you do have to be careful what you're eating, because just because it says organic, we can't truly even trust the idea of that. And the best thing I can say for people is feeling out the energy. And if you can't feel out the energy, go ahead and eat it. If it doesn't agree with your body, it's probably not for you. And that is something I do both, but most of the time when I eat something, my body will literally alert me, this is not good for the body. It hurts here, here, and here. And I don't like the feeling. I don't want to eat this again, and we shouldn't. And most of the time, I'm not perfect, but most of the time I do stop eating certain foods that I know are affecting my body in a bad way. And that is something that should be important to anybody in any society, in any place, no matter where you are in life, to make sure you are careful with what you eat. And with cannabis, many will tell you that this could harm people, and to be honest with you, through my observation and through my own research, I've never seen anyone get hurt or harmed in any way from taking cannabis. I've never seen anyone OD on cannabis. I've seen people, however, maybe lose their mind a bit because they had too much, just like the edible. Now, cigarette smoking wise, no, but edible wise with cannabis, yes. But I've never seen someone OD to that point of where they've died. I've seen people on different drugs, especially I know that in America there is a big issue with drugs, the opioid issue, as I've heard so many times, that is harming many people, and people OD on that. Crack cocaine, all those things, one way or another, are things that OD. But from research of what I know personally and from observation of what I've seen around me, I have not seen that happen. And many will say that's a gateway drug. I would say to you that all depends on the person who makes the choice. I wouldn't say it's a gateway drug because it's not. It's not a drug at all. It's a herb. But what I would say is that is a choice from there further because of the fact that we are using something that, how do you put it, to bring a certain pleasure to us. And we believe that bringing another pleasure that is more effective in whatever we're trying to gain will help us. But we don't want to look at the effects. Now, give or take the person, just all depends. Alcohol, for example. Alcohol is not good for you. Just no matter what you say, no matter if you tell me, if you take in consistency, no. It is not good for you because it kills brain cells. And this we all know, no matter how consistent you are, it will kill brain cells. That's just the big line, period. There's no changing that. We still drink it anyways. And that is okay. If you want to drink it, go ahead. But all I'm saying is the realistic point of view is that it does affect you by killing brain cells. It does affect you by slowly eating away at your liver. It does affect you by slowly eating away at your body. That's just point blank, period. Now, it is your choice if you want to keep drinking or drinking more heavily or stop drinking at all, like like I did, to decide from there if that is a better choice for you. It's up to you. Now, truth be told, as the drinks are called spirits, sometimes it seems like you're not quite who you are from. And for me, when I used to drink, I was a heavy drinker. I've only been drunk twice. I stopped drinking simply for the fact that there was no purpose for me to drink anymore. There was no reason for me to drink alcohol knowing that it's affecting my body. It's affecting how I do things, how I put things into motion and everything else. So I stopped drinking it. There was no need, there was no benefit towards it, so I stopped drinking it. It was just like smoking. When I was smoking marijuana at one point in my life, I did it to simply experiment, and then I stopped because I had no need for it. Now, this experiment was something different due to the fact of what I was listening to and understanding and researching the difference between smoking it and from eating it and so on and so forth. So I wanted to experiment with what I could see or what I could do by understanding this part. And what I again saw was the simple fact that it allowed me to know who I truly am. And what I saw in all was the fact that the oneness factor, that everything from what I was sitting on to who I was around and everything was one with me. And I felt that deeply. And I could remember deeply who I was. And of course I still do. But it was at a deeper point that all other emotions that I had on this planet were cut off, in a sense, and that all I felt was deeply love. It was a very interesting feeling to me to have felt that energy. It was very beautiful. As I was doing this, I was speaking to another, I would say, soul who spoke in different accents to allow me, as they were saying, to feel comfortable with whatever I enjoyed hearing, in a sense. And during that time, there were certain things of information I was learning and certain things I didn't want to learn because of the fact of what most people have to remember is you are, as a soul, you are learning literally all this through a filter, and the filter is your body. If you did not have the filter on this body, it would be simple enough, of course, for you to do whatever you want, know whatever you want easily. But then the question is, well, why is it not like that? And the simple reason it's not like that is because honestly, the game would be over. There would be no reason to do anything to get to where you desire to be, and so on and so forth, because you would know everything. You would know what to do. You would just do whatever you want because you know everything. And some people may even feel like, wouldn't it be better to know everything so you don't have to feel this and this hard? It could be for some people this miserable life and everything else. And what I could say to you about that is, you are in the position you are in because you chose to. Now, you may not feel you chose to, but as a soul, you chose to be in that position. What you do with where you are in life is up to you in becoming who you desire to be. It is all up to you where you desire to go further from that. That is your choice. Nothing will ever be perfect. But I can tell you, and I can guarantee you one thing for sure, that I truly understand that works. One way or another, when you make that choice, no matter what choice you make, no matter if you see it as good or bad, or whether you don't see it as good or bad at all, one way or another, that choice you make is you becoming a factor of what you desire to experience in life. And there are a variety of different versions of experiencing who you truly are. When you make that choice, you are experiencing possibly being the worker, the mother, the homeless person, the broadcaster, the YouTuber, the wealthy person, the poor person, the content person, the truly spiritual person, the truly religious person, the true person. Whoever you desire to be, that is what you are being, because that is what you desire to experience by forgetting who you are in this moment. If you remembered everything, there'd be no reason to have a moment, because of the simple fact that, let's put it in this way, and this is another science I will be creating more of, but just using God logic. If you're one with God, and if you're one with God, you would then know everything. And we just said that just now. We just generally have stated that. But knowing one with everything would mean that you know how magnificent you are. You know how amazing you are. You know the divinity within who you are. You know everything. And some people, I would think, perhaps, now give or take, if we had that choice, in a sense, that we would think that it would probably be better to know everything. But knowing, let's say, how humans are, how we are, you might just get bored. Knowing if you know everything, you might just get bored. It's like when you play a new game and you've played it maybe a few times over, so you know exactly what they're gonna say. You might eventually get bored of it because you know it now. You've played it a few times, so you know how all the mechanics work. You know how everything works, and all the choices. Even if it was one of those games where you make a bunch of different choices, if you know all the choices, all the loops, and so on and so forth, you might just get bored with it. And that is the filter that is in your body. And that is the filter that was in my body, but at the moment it wasn't. But it serves to help you remember yourself. And that's what helped me, was the simple fact that while I was doing that, and while I remembered who I was, while everything was going in motion, yes, I did remember who I was. And then when it was over, it allowed me to keep reminding myself of unconditional love of who I am, unconditional love of who everyone else is, giving them that, understanding that everything is more than what it seems. And that one of the things I was learning was a simple fact, and I've always heard this, it's just that when I went through all this, feeling this and seeing this with your very own being is more interesting than you can imagine. Seeing the world being an actual literal hologram of the mind of what you created, it was so interesting and amazing to literally, because pretty much what happened was everything just slowly disappeared and dissipated, until all was just light and darkness and beings of all sorts, both big, small, and I literally could see things the biggest point of view. And the other thing I felt from this was the simple fact that I could feel myself feeling my own self. And what I mean by that is who I am, as you see right here, I could see that, but I could see the bigger version of me to infinity, and yet the smaller version of me to infinity. And I felt that emotion, that this isn't even the biggest part of me, but it's not even the smallest part of me. Seeing that energy was very interesting, and I was seeing this from a omnipresent point of view, that I could see it from within me and yet with outside of me, which was incredible to me, because what the experiment had showed me was a simple fact of, again, and it's not even this, I've talked about this before, that we are omnipresent beings. We are capable of these things. We are psychic. You are amazing, and you don't even realize it sometimes how incredible you guys are, that you are capable of being in 3, 4, 5, 10 places at once if you choose. But what I would say is, and I would not say immediately just go eat an edible and it'll happen. I wouldn't say that. I would say take your time to meditate. And I'm not going to tell you to meditate by just sitting in silence in the dark or anything. The choice is yours, whatever works for you. You could meditate by going on a walk. You could meditate by going on a bicycle and going for a ride. You could meditate by cooking soup to its own perfection for you. Even if you want to learn that meditation, the meditation I'm talking about where you sit in the dark and you find a comfortable position for yourself to either lay down or sit down where you're comfortable, but you're not too comfortable, but you're comfortable enough that you can go ahead and close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, and relax to the silence, somewhere quiet and silent. If you desire to do that, yes, it will help you get to where you desire to be in out-of-body experience. But what I would state to people is that it is not the only way. And that is why I say there are a variety of other ways that you might feel are more beneficial and work for you personally instead of doing that. For me, that works because it's very relaxing. It's very relaxing to do that in my own room or area that is comfortable for me, at the beach, in nature, at a forest, whatever works for you personally that allows you to meditate. I meditate nowadays. I'm working towards meditating about an hour to 2 hours a day. Gotta get that meditation in. Don't complicate meditate, as my friend Martin and I say all the time. So, from all this, summarizing on everything, what I learned was a simple fact of how far the soul truly can go, and that it is completely never ending, and that everything is an interesting. Before I even go, I'm sorry, before I summarize everything, one of the other interesting things was the simple fact that everything wasn't about a yes or I mean, everything wasn't absolute as we have in this world where it's either yes or no. It was interesting because there were points where I kept moving around. I was saying, do you want to get up, or do you not want to get up? Do you feel sick, or do you not? Oh, I feel this way, I feel that way. Well, you could do this, you could do that, unless you don't. And I was having this conversation with other beings around, literally with myself, being, because this is all you, one way or another. And it was so interesting that I was having this conversation with several beings at once, and it was interesting explaining to me that it's a choice. I mean, you can do it unless you don't, or you can choose the other position or other choice unless you don't. And while I was going through that, I could see there were times, I suppose, because I did walk around a few times and I was watching the TV, and I turned my head and I had an image in my head of something that actually happened literally, I'd say, a few seconds after I had the image in my head. And it was weird. I don't really watch TV like that, so I didn't even know it was on, but I saw the image in my head, and it opened further my clairvoyance of what I was seeing, because most of my clairvoyance, I would say, revolves around my understanding of my being. I still have to learn, and I'm still growing my clairvoyance of who I am as a person. And I think I'll even do a video on clairvoyance and how to grow that for yourself. But in summary, it allowed me to see my oneness. It allowed me to see the illusion of the world at large. It allowed me to experience much more. It allowed me to further my omnipresence and omnipotence to who I truly am, and allowing me to see not only for myself, but allow me to even know for other people that you truly are the gods, goddesses, and creators within, that you truly are capable of these things. No matter what anyone says, it is all a choice. No matter what people do in the world and what they're working on and so on and so forth, telling you that this has to be done this way because there are requirements. When there are no requirements for life, there is no requirement. It is a choice of what works and what doesn't work for you, and it is beautiful. You create that. No matter what anyone tells you is required, it is requirement, because of the fact that due to the primitive society of where we live in, we believe that competition is everything. We believe that we need to do this in order to get that. If you want to be wealthy, you have to do these things to get here. If you want to be healthy, or if better yet, because health wise, it's a simple task. But if you want to be healthy and find a shortcut, you need to do this, this, and this. Be all honesty, because with health, there are no requirements. The one thing I love about health is the simple fact that it is a straightforward path. You exercise every day, and you eat what's beneficial for your body, and what works for you will help you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do all that or anything, but what I would say to people, don't disillusion yourself with the simple fact of believing that what you're eating is beneficial in any way, when many of those things harm us, because again, you're eating a lot of processed foods being processed for consumption, something in the process of becoming food to be put into consumption for other people. And food, all in all, does not need to be processed, but because of the fact that we believe it needs to be processed, we believe in whatever we're told instead of looking for ourselves to see what works and what doesn't work. That is why we have what we have in today's society. But without any further ado, this was the experiment. And I just want you guys to know you are amazing, beautiful, magnificent, and divine. You all are the gods, the goddesses, and the creators within. So, this is the first video. We're going to do the next one shortly. Have a good morning. Have a great afternoon. And a fantastic evening. Namaste.